Let's bring in our panel now to talk about this, the politics behind the change at the top of the Pentagon. Josh Orton, senior advisor at Progressives United, Skyping in to us from Madison, Wisconsin. Also a former aide to Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid. And also Jeffery, editor-in-chief of CNS News, coming to us from Washington, D.C. Guys, we heard Senator McCain there. He's expected to become the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, which will vet the next nominee to be the head of the Defense Department. What do you think, though, about this discussion, Josh, this inner circle in the Obama administration that's keeping folks like Chuck Hagel out?
Yeah, look, I think everyone understands that the White House has a very tight circle of aides around President Obama, and frankly, I think that the president deserves credit for nominating Secretary Hagel and fighting for his confirmation 2 years ago, which faced heavy Republican opposition, even though that Hagel is a former member of the Senate, so that's a bit unusual. Look, I think I saw a mention that it's always easier for the Department of Defense to transition from peace to war than from war back to peace. President Obama has been reining in President Bush's nation-building experiment from the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. And I think that there was maybe a clash of styles here. I don't think that detracts in any way from Secretary Hagel's service. I think he's a true patriot, a war hero, and I think he deserves a lot of credit.
Well, I don't think anybody's necessarily criticizing, well, maybe some folks are, but I think really the issue here is the fact that Hagel may have been pushed out by the Obama administration. What say you, Terry?
Well, actually, I think people ought to also take a look at some of the astounding ways in which Chuck Hagel, who's once a conservative Republican, and particularly on cultural issues, was a conservative once upon a time, completely accepted and bought off on ways that President Obama has been trying to use the military and the chain of command, which he controls as commander-in-chief, to advance some very significant cultural changes in America. I would just cite two. The first was that Chuck Hagel was involved in fact, I believe responsible for trying to prevent Catholic chaplains from doing their job in the United States military. He's even sued over this. His department told Father Ray Leonard at the Kings Bay submarine base in Georgia that they would arrest him during the government shutdown if he voluntarily administered the sacraments. They refused to tell me whether they would stop him from administering the last rites to a dying person, even though the president had signed the Pay Our Military Act before the government shutdown, which was designed to pay not only active duty military members, but also contractors like Father Leonard. The second thing is, as Secretary of Defense, Hagel signed off on a plan to completely integrate women into the combat forces of the U.S. military, including the special forces. And so this guy, Obama has taken the military in a much different direction than any previous president. And Chuck Hagel, for the most part, was willing to go along with him.
And Josh, so I'll let you respond to that. It seems as though, if you listen to Terry, that Hagel fully bought in to the Obama administration's initiative to maybe push some aggressive agenda items through the ranks of the military.
Well, look, I guess I would say that I think that culturally the military was always looking to modernize, and frankly, I give Secretary Hagel credit for working with the Obama administration to make sure those things happen. I'm a little flabbergasted by the notion that these are the issues that Secretary Hagel deserves criticism for. These were things that were coming anyway, right? These are things that a modern military integrates and.
Well, maybe on the women fighting on the front lines, but I'm not so sure about the religious issue. We had Josh's Skype freeze up there a little bit, Terry, so I don't want to jump on him. We only have about 40 seconds before we go to the commercial break. But Josh, talking about those issues, I think we have him back. But guys, we only have about 30 seconds left before we step aside, but we can continue this conversation. We're going to ask Josh and Terry just to stick around. We're going to continue to talk about Chuck Hagel stepping down as the head of the Pentagon and who is going to replace him. And also, he is not the first one to possibly have some tension between him and that inner circle we talked about. Also, Robert Gates, Leon Panetta, we can't forget that, had some very public things to say about some of the trouble working with the Obama administration. Josh Orton and Terry Jeffery coming right back after this.